Okay, so in this video, what I want to do is I want to kind of go back to the very bare bones beginning because this is the computer science portion of playlist. So we're going to start with what I remember from my CS courses, specifically the semester that involves C++. So that's in this video, it's just going to be simple output. So we're just going to output some text and kind of cover the basics of program flow, so to speak, even though there's not going to be much to it, but that's what we're going to do, just so it's obvious. So it's pretty rudimentary. So the one thing we have to do in order to actually print something to the screen, so for example, if I press Control F5 to launch without the debugger, I'm met with the empty console window. We haven't set anything to be displayed. If you were to create a brand new project and select the not the empty project, but the normal C++ project option, you would have something that prints text to the screen already. But I want to go ahead and start with just the main function. So what we're going to do is we're going to do hashtag include. This is going to be your opening and closing braces. IOStream. So IOStream is your input and your output and your streaming. So usually when you, for example, write to a file, read to a file, print something to the screen, get users input and stuff like that, that's usually considered streaming. So when you see something like that has something indexing it and then the word stream at the end, that's usually an indication like, hey, this is a class or this is a header or whatever that is going to focus on streaming data in or out or both. So for example, we have another one, you can ignore this, but fstream. Now this is for file streaming. So for example, writing to text files, reading from text files, and all that kind of stuff. You can do kind of whatever with it, but stream is for input and output. So in order to make use of the ability to print out, we include IOStream for input and output. So next up, in our main function, we can do std for the standard library, : cout for console out, as it kind of says, C for console out. Then we have two different brackets, one we use for output and one we use for input. And I'll explain those here in a second. So we'd use the less than, and then we have our opening and closing quotes and whatever text we want to go in here. So as always with every single tutorial that starts out like this, hello world. Yeah, could you have guessed that one? And then put a semicolon. Now, semicolon is in C++ is what ends a statement. So most C-based actually I'd say probably all C-based languages are going to end their statements with a semicolon. So then we can just run it again, press Control F5, hello world. Or you can press local Windows debugger to run it with the debugger, or just press F5 to also run it with the debugger. But that's all you have to do. Now, this also comes with a couple different ways you can end this line as well. So for example, let's say I wanted it to say hello world twice, one on a new line. So I'm going to do hello world again and run it. And you'll see it says hello world twice. And same thing if I press enter. Granted, it's not going to do that without adding them, but better example, if I just do space, it's just going to say hello world twice. And same thing if I had these on new lines, they're still going to be on the same line. That's because we have a semicolon here ending the statement. We have nothing indicating in here that there should be a new line. So computers come with a new line terminator character, so to speak. So for example, if I do in between these, I'll do \n. That indicates, hey, when we hit this, this is a new line. So this is our new line kind of character. I don't know if that's the right word for it. So now when you see when I run it, hello world and hello world on a new line, like so. Now with the ability to print out like this, you can also combine a bunch of different things as well. So for example, I went ahead and made this into one little string and made this into one little string. They're in their own quotation brackets. So the way I can combine these is if I do another less than between them, and it allows them to be joined together, just like so, as if they were on the same line. well, as if they were the same initial string. But what we can do here is we also have the ability to have other standard commands for this stuff. So we can do std end l less than again. Now this is end l, so end line. So now when we go to run it, as you can see, it did the exact same thing. It's kind of just inserting a new line character. I'm not entirely sure if this does anything extra behind the scenes, but that's for the most part what it's doing. So that is the basics of just how to print something to the screen. Well, in the console window anyways. That's probably going to be one of the very first things you do for your assignments is just print something. In the next video, we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to take something in. So we're going to grab the user's input, and I'll show you a couple different ways we can do that, because we can grab actual values like integers and stuff like that. We can also grab strings, so the user's text, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get into that as we go on, because I'm trying to make this as this is actually kind of like your first initial semester kind of thing. So it's a very simple way to get into this, so to speak, just to make sense of it. Anyhow, I will see you in the next video.